small miracle. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you as live as it can be from Honolulu, Hawaii, overlooking Greater Oahu. The lead stories are reverse search warrants. The tech is going to get you. Zuckerberg and the digital gangster report. Audi is helping you with traffic lights. This is pretty cool. And American Airlines and their cameras in their in-flight entertainment systems. Are they on? I want to welcome you to episode 1348 of the Geek News Central podcast for Thursday, February 21st. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Hey, I want to give a warm welcome. We're back here in Honolulu, back live. Yes, live. Even though it's 8 p.m. Hawaiian. Everyone, hello. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Of course, those of you that are listening via podcast, the 99.9999% of you that listen this way, thanks for staying subscribed and being part of the Ohana. I'm glad to be back in the studio. It's been a while, almost a week short of 2 months since I've been in the studio here. But if you're brand new to the show, it's real simple. I want you as a new listener to take time to get over to geeknewscentral.com. And when you're over there, get subscribed to the podcast. And all you got to do is go to the right-hand column of the website. And you can subscribe via Apple Podcasts, on Android, by email, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, or the old school RSS feed. You can use that to get hooked up here. That's the most important thing you need to do as a brand new listener. Get subscribed to the show. And while you're on the website, scroll down a little bit further and get signed up for the newsletter as well. Of course, you can watch this show since we're back on Apple TV. Just search for Geek News Central. You can listen on blueberry.com. You can listen on your smart home device by saying the keyword to launch that device and say, play the podcast, Geek News Central. This show is live. We're live at live.geeknewscentral.com on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Mixer. We're all over the place when we are live. And of course, you can join our chat room. Our chat room is pretty slick. It's a Mastodon chat room, and it's available at geeknews.chat. Geeknews.chat is a place to go to get hooked up. Now, if you want to be part of our really cool kids, you can join our Slack channel. All you got to do is send me an email. And really, this email address is how you stay connected to me, how you send feedback. And again, ask to be part of our Slack family and join the Slack channel. If you're not using Slack, you really don't know what you're missing. So just drop me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. Of course, on Twitter, I'm available at Geek News as well. So follow me on Facebook. Just search for my name. Partner shows include, and these are all linked to Geek News Central, the GNC Week in Review, the Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site at progear.guru, the New Media Show at newmediashow.com, and of course, the Podcast Legend Show. You can always pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. And, well, I'm going to save this bit of news for a little later in the show. Let me actually see if it's working yet. Maybe I can share this now. Did I get it? Oh, it's not up yet. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, so I'm going to tell you now, before we get later in the show, I scored a new domain name. Geek.news. Geek.news. That's how you get to me now. Geek.news. Now it's going to forward to geeknewscentral.com, but isn't that cool? I paid a little bit of a premium for the 4-letter domain, but $54. renewal fee at $127 a year. So that a little bit of a ooch, but I thought it was cool enough to grab it. Geeknews.chat. Hey, of course, where did I get that? Where did I get that domain? Of course, I got it over at GoDaddy. GoDaddy's the longest running continuous sponsor of this podcast. And of course, GoDaddy deals are available on my website. And yes, dollar deals are back. Dollar deals are back. So you can get $1 a month economy hosting with a free domain, or $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain. $12. $12 gets you in the business. $8.49 is the cost of a normal domain, unless you use my 99-cent new promo code. This is for a transfer or new customers. This is a one-time good deal. You get to use it once in a lifetime of the show. CJC Geek 99 is the promo code. Of course, you can save 30% off new product purchases at GoDaddy, or you can get that 1 month free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. Now, I'm just going to say thank you. We had a really good January with GoDaddy. And I don't know, maybe I told you we had a really good January. And we're coming down to the end of February, and we don't know where we're at. We'll see in another week or so. But again, thank you for all your support. And don't forget to support GoDaddy. Tell your friends, family members, people that you know. Don't write it on the bathroom wall, but definitely share my GoDaddy promo codes, again, with everyone that you know. It's just like making an in-show donation. It's just like going over and becoming an insider. One full swoop using one of my hosting promo codes is a big win for the show. So definitely geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy for the promo codes. And we again want to thank GoDaddy for being, again, a long time sponsor here at Geek News Central. Been with us since June of 2005. So let me just talk a little bit about what the heck's been going on. When I left you, I was on the East Coast. Had spent 4 weeks bouncing around, and got on an airplane a week ago Saturday, and or last Saturday, I guess that's the better way to say it. Last Saturday, and no problem. Got into Honolulu 2:30 in the afternoon or so. My wife was getting off work at the airlines right around the same time. I went to the USO, hung out for about 30 minutes. She picked me up and we came home. I threw clothes in the washing machine, repacked a mini little travel bag. And then the following morning at 9 a.m., we jumped back in the car and headed towards the airport. And by 11:45, we were wheels up, headed to Sydney. Now, we got lucky. We thought at the last minute, based upon where we were in the stack, we were 9th and 10th on the list to go to Sydney. We know that there was only 8 open first class seats. So we said, and she's like, "Yeah, you still want to go, or you want to go home?" And I'm like, "We're here. We reserved a hotel. They're going to take our money if we don't show up because it was too late to cancel." And I said, "I'll go." And I'm thinking to myself, 11 hours in coach. And they've got these Super Saver seats with the Hawaiian that are pretty cool. They lean back pretty far. So I kind of had a little bit of consolation with that. And so they called our names. We went up and bada bing, bada boom. We're in first class. So I slept probably 5 or 6 hours at least. Enjoyed the hospitality of Hawaiian Airlines and using her benefits. It was fantastic. We got into Sydney about 7:30 or so, cleared customs, cleared immigration, and then jumped on their mass transit system. Basically a train, and within 30 minutes we were in the central business district of Sydney. I think the actual name of the stop was Town Hall. We got off. The airport, the Hilton Sydney that we were staying at was 300 feet away. Into the hotel we went, checked in. They actually upgraded my room because they were pretty much booked, so we got a nicer room. Went and it was late, and Central Business District kind of shuts down. It was a Monday night. By the time we're kind of around and ready to go eat, it was 9. Some bars were open. Went into a bar, got some food, fish and chips, and a couple of beers. And by 10:30, 10:45, we're crashed, and then we're up early at 6 a.m. Had an incredible breakfast at the Hilton Sydney. And it was complimentary because of my status with Hilton. Then we hit it. And first thing we went to was the Sydney Opera House and toured that. Good tour. I'll say I did it. One thing, if you don't pay for the tour, you go and walk around outside. You can't see too much. So they kind of, if you want to see the inside, you got to go. But okay, it was decent. And then we proceeded to Circle K, which is basically one of the landing areas for ferries. We went around there, then we bought a day pass, and then we spent the rest of the day bouncing around and seeing some different things. Got our pictures with the koala. Basically did some ferry stops. We jumped around all the ferry stops in Sydney. Did the whole circuit, and by 6 p.m. we were basically headed towards Sydney Tower. Now, the food, the people, the beer, everything was incredible in Sydney. No complaints. Vibrant city. Cool. People were hip. I really, really was impressed. And again, this is just a 2-day kind of quick touristy type of opinion. Didn't get too deep in the weeds. But we went to Sydney Tour, and it's got one of these rotating restaurants. I'm just going to say it the way it is. The food was absolute shit. Do not ever go to the Sydney Tower for food. The view, fantastic. The cost, $150 for two, $75 Australian, with a dollar being worth 1.4 Australian. It still was pretty pricey for a buffet. The only thing I can say out of the buffet was I got to taste kangaroo meat. And they had good oysters. There was probably the only 2 things on the buffet that were worth anything. Everything else was garbage. Only bad meal I had the entire time in Sydney. And I went on Yelp to do a review, and I had looked at the reviews, and I'm like, man, we should have read this beforehand. But so anyway, that was Tuesday. Wednesday, we didn't have to fly out to 10 o'clock at night, so we wanted to do a ground game, and we found these a tour package that was 3 hours, $18 a piece on a bus. Incredible deal. They took us around a whole bunch of different locations. Didn't get a lot of time on the ground. I got to snap, jump in the bus, snap, grab a coffee, snap. So anyway, 3 hours of that. Got back, and then we did some shopping around, did a few things, and then by 6, we'd already checked out of the hotel, but the hotel gave us key cards so that we could get into the spa. So we picked up our luggage, went to the spa, hit a shower, got changed, got on the train about 6:30 or so, got into the airport at 7, got checked in, went through immigration, did everything, got to the boarding gate. We had a couple glasses of wine and got our tickets, got on the airplane. No first class. We were in coach on the way home. It was by then 10:30, 10:45, wheels in the well. And I leaned the chair back and pulled my nightshades over me, and her and I were sitting next to each other. We flipped the armrest up, and boom, out. I think I slept for 5 hours or so. I woke up around 6:30 Hawaiian Standard Time, which I thought that's pretty cool, and stayed up to the rest of the flight. Landed, got in here about 11. Maybe it was a little later. Anyway, I was only awake like the last 3 or 4 hours of the flight. Again, another 11-hour burner. And then here we are. I woke up this morning at 4:30 on time. So it's been a crazy run, folks. It really, really has. But I'm absolutely thrilled to be back in the studio. It feels good. Everything turned up. It ran. It worked. I tweaked the white balance on the cameras. I got a few other minor things to do. Audio's off a little bit on something. I think I had a cat and walked over the mixer a little bit. So that was no big deal. The cover was on it, but he stepped on something. So I have to make some adjustments. But the schedule remains insane. And it's going to about May 1st. And then things are going to be even crazier in June. But so I am here for 3 shows. And then I leave for Florida on basically what is today? I leave a week from tomorrow to go to Orlando. And then I don't get back to the studio. I'll be here. I fly back on the 10th of, what am I right in the right month here? I get back on the 10th because I'm down for a couple things. And then I'm basically home for 2.25 weeks, something like that. And then I'm to Columbus at the end of March. And then, no. And then I'm to NAB in April. Then I'm in Columbus at the end of April. So it's insane. Just insane travel. I might be going to the West Coast once. So we will continue to proceed as if the show... We're going to continue the show. We're not going to miss any episodes. We'll make sure we get that knocked out. But anyway, absolute craziness this year to begin with, travel-wise. But I'm here alive. And Michael, I drank lots of water. I think I did have one cocktail on the way out. But yes, H2O was my friend and stayed healthy. But other than that, thanks for being here. Again, if you're new to the show, this is kind of like a recap of about a week stuff going on. And we got a lot going on. Next week, we have a interesting article coming out. It should raise some eyebrows. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the family. Thanks for being part of the Ohana. Thank you for putting up with my antics. And if you're from Australia, had a great time. Really, really did. I'm going to be back. I am going to go back. It grew on me just a little bit. And I don't know exactly why there could be a love affair there with me in Australia. I really could. I think there's a forming of that. I something about the city, and again, we didn't get too far on the outskirts. It's got the same problems any big city has with some homeless and all that stuff. But that's we have that in America too. I definitely want to see some other places. I want to see Melbourne. I want to see Perth. All the sailor stories I ever heard were from Perth. So even would love to do some extended into the country type of trips into the outback, into small towns. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's just, I added to my bucket list. And New Zealand's now definitely on the list too. Another country I want to visit. But anyway, that's here and there. Let's go ahead and get into the stack of stuff tonight because I do have a good lineup for you. I want to thank Kirk for doing the good show prep tonight. I added a few things. But there's a good Slate article, and stuff is popping up all over. We just heard about some girl that was murdered like 25 years ago or something, a long time ago. They just charged her killer, or accused killer. And how did he get caught? Genealogy.com. Submitted a DNA sample to do some looking, and they cross-referenced that with the DNA sample from the crime scene, and they have their man. So this technology is going and grabbing people that they're unaware that this data is being able to be backtraced. Well, police departments are using what they're calling reverse location search warrants to force Google to hand over data on anyone near a crime scene. Now, check this out. On the night of March 16, 2017, the city of Raleigh, North Carolina suffered its biggest fire in a century. The flames scorched 10 buildings, including churches and businesses. A 7-story apartment complex then under construction was also reduced to ashes. The fire ultimately caused $50 million in damages. And over the next year, authorities investigated the fire but seemed to struggle to determine its cause. According to a report by NBC affiliate WRAL, the Raleigh police went to extreme lengths to find out if an arsonist may have set the blaze. Investigators served a search warrant to Google asking that the company provide the coordinates of any phones that were in the area between 7:30 and 10:30 p.m. on the night of the fire. Well, police ended up classifying the cause of the fire as undetermined. But police departments across the country have been knocking on Google's door for at least the last 2 years with warrants to tap into the company's extensive stores of cell phone location data, known as reverse location search warrants. These legal mandates allow law enforcement to sweep up the coordinates and movements of every cell phone in a broad area. The police can then check to see if any of the phones came close to the crime scene. In doing so, however, the police can end up not only fishing for a suspect, but also gathering location data potentially of hundreds or thousands of innocent people. So it's unclear on how widespread the practice is. Google did not respond to Slate's request, who wrote this article, for comment on how the company handles these requests. And WRAL was able to uncover 4 instances in which the Raleigh Police Department sought reverse location data in 2017. In Minnesota, police departments have obtained at least 22 reverse search warrants. It's not just local police departments that have requested location data from Google. Forbes discovered the FBI also uses the techniques in Virginia to investigate a string of robberies at a Dollar Tree between March and September. The Bureau requested the identification of all Google account holders in 2 areas within a 375-meter radius and another with a 300-meter radius during the times that the robberies took place. But if you think about it, Google's location tracking capabilities are very powerful. When authorities request cell tower data, they can see the approximate locations of any phone connected to a nearby tower, but they can retrieve much more reliable data from the users of Android phones or certain Google apps. Google location tracking are often more precise than those of cell towers. Oh yeah, have you looked at your Google location data? So many privacy advocates argue that these sorts of indiscriminate data sweeps are prohibited under the Fourth Amendment because they're generalized searches and they're capturing data of unsuspecting innocent people in the process. Some police departments have tried to implement limits on the amount of data accessible one time in order to reserve privacy. A Maine police officers asked Google in August to retrieve information only on users who were in at least 2 of the locations of interest during certain periods of time. Minnesota police officers have defended reverse location search, pointing out that investigators follow a process whereby Google first assigns anonymized ID numbers to each phone when it hands the data over. Once investigators pinpoint a device that seems suspicious, they then request another warrant from the court to retrieve its identifying information. And to me, that seems reasonable. Now, a lot of people are saying, nope. But we live in a new world. We live in a new world where everything we do with our cell phones is largely being tracked. Where we go, who we talk to, who we message, all that information is got a digital footprint that follows us around. Take a picture. Most likely it has a location ID built into it. Take a picture of someone you don't know, and you can put it in a search and find their name by doing a reverse search lookup of just a face. And these are public available to even you and I. So privacy is gone. So if someone had snapped a picture of me in Australia and they didn't know who I was and wanted to know who I was, all they had to do is put my face into a reverse lookup and they would find out who I was and where I'm from. This can actually be used in a more nefarious way for marketing as well. Everywhere we went in Australia, if we wanted Wi-Fi, they asked for your name and an email address and permission to email you. Now, that was the only way you were getting free Wi-Fi. So, of course, I have a burner email address that I use for those types of instances. And, of course, I don't put my real name. But if they took a picture of me in their store, tied it to this data, they would really know who I really was. So it just goes on and on and on. So I think we're all getting to the point here where we kind of get it. But do you feel comfortable in police departments using reverse location search warrants to find criminals or do investigations about purported crimes? I think what they're going to end up finding out at some point is that the individuals that don't have phones and don't have digital data, maybe they're the ones that have to be actually looked at because maybe they're actually trying to hide their digital footprint. Some of you have emailed me, and I actually had a comment in one of our Slack channels where someone said that, hey, I've shut off my Facebook location data collections. I'm not allowing them to collect location data on me anymore after one of our previous episodes where we talked about this. But what do you think about reverse location search? Makes you go, doesn't it? All right, we'll move on here. Zuckerberg. Oh my goodness. The UK government is not happy. Zuckerberg to meet with a UK minister after what they're reporting to be a damning digital gangster report. Zuckerberg will finally meet with a representative of the UK government after a UK parliamentary report this week extricated the social media site for behaving like digital gangsters. Now, when someone is called a digital gangster by your government, this is big. The minister that's going says that the British public have legitimate concerns about their safety and security online, and as a responsible government, we are taking action, said Wright, head of the UK Department for Digital Culture and Media and Sport. In a press statement, while in the US, Wright will also be meeting with Twitter, Google, YouTube, and Apple. Now, he's only going to have 30 minutes to talk with Zuckerberg. However, listen to this. He should be able to hold the CEO's attention given the UK is currently preparing new regulations that will make online platforms more responsible for content published on their sites and apps. Wright said as much in his press statement, noting that the era, now listen to this is important, the era of self-regulation is coming to an end. So now, you've got governments pissed off about all the stuff that's been going on. And they're saying, self-regulation's over there, homeboy. It's time to pay the piper. The UK is expected to announce its new regulatory framework in the coming weeks, suggests that the framework won't make platforms as liable for content as traditional publishers, but there will be new restrictions as well as possible independent regulatory and mandatory code of ethics. In anticipation of the new regulations, some U.S. firms have been more active in policing their content. See, here's a dangerous thing, policing their content. Those of us that run digital platforms, which I do, are protected under Digital Millennium Copyright Act as having safe harbors. If I start going and policing my content as a U.S. citizen, having a U.S.-based company, going in and looking at U.S.-based content, I lose protections under the DMCA and safe harbors, because if I start looking at some, I have to look at all. And then liability, yes, liability, monetary liability can come falling crashing down on me if I miss something, if I start doing my own policing. So what do? They have to look at UK content in its own silo? What if one of you that listen to the show from the UK has a post that comes under scrutiny and I've made a comment on that post? It's a slippery slope. It really, really is. So we'll see. Facebook is facing laws that could hurt revenue across Europe. GDPR's already hurt revenue. All right. Let me hear your thoughts on that as well. geeknews@gmail.com. All right. Audi. Oh, my goodness. Audi cars are always beautiful. Never been able to afford one. But Audi is revving up its slick traffic light information system. Now, the new Audi TLI can tell you the best speed to drive in order to hit a string of green traffic lights without having to suddenly speed up to make a light on yellow or brake hard if you can't speed enough to make the light. Now, what's supposed to happen is if you're at a light and it's red and it turns green and you drive the speed limit, what's supposed to happen, you're supposed to be able to hit that next light green. And sometimes you do, and you may make it through 2, 3, 4. But if the car ahead of you slows down a little bit, or someone's, you don't usually hit them boom, 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 boom in a row. I would really like to have this technology because it drives me crazy when lights are not synchronized. And if this uses what's called GLOSA, it's the Green Light Optimized Speed Advisory, which comes out of the traffic lights. It definitely would make it easier. Wouldn't it make flow better? So I think we'll see what happens over the years. But I think we've all got that series of lights maybe we drive through that we know how to hit them. And if you hit one red, you're like, because you know you're now screwed. You're not going to make it through. The sequence is all off and you're going to be stuck at every light. It happens here. There's one light. I know if I hit it green, I'm good all the way through. But if I hit it red, all the lights ahead of me are going to be red. No matter what speed I drive. So TLI from Audi. Look for it when you go to look and buy your next new Audi car. All right, American Airlines, Jack, you're going to love this one. Has cameras in their entertainment screens. Well, a viral photo showing a camera in a Singapore Airlines in-flight TV display caused quite the uproar online. Well, as it turns out, some seatback screens in American Airlines Premium Economy have them too. Well, don't worry, at least yet. American Airlines spokesman said that cameras are present on some of the airline's in-flight entertainment systems, but he said they have never been activated and American is not considered using them. Cameras are a standard feature on many in-flight entertainment systems used by multiple airlines. Manufacturers of those systems have included cameras for possible future use, such as hand gestures to control in-flight entertainment, record you while you're doing the naughty. No, I'm just kidding. After Twitter user Vitale Kumlik saw a similar lens on the Singapore Airlines and tweeted photos of the system last week, the airlines responded from its official Twitter account saying the cameras were disabled as well. So, I've never really examined those entertainment systems that closely. I'm taking a flashlight next time to take a look. People said that they should put some tape over the camera lens and to make people feel better, but I never noticed one. Apple and Goldman Sachs are reportedly teaming up to offer a joint credit card. Oh, yeah. So the main selling point of the card is expected to be deeper integration with the Apple Wallet app, which will allow users to manage balances and set spending goals. According to the journal sources, the card will begin internal testing in the coming weeks in advance of its public launch. Credit cards make companies a lot of money. All right, there's an article over on Lifehacker talking about Twitter. Twitter is testing a new feature, and basically, if you hate Twitter, and tired of seeing tweets out of order, and you have long-standing complaints about the interface, annoyed Twitter users can now get involved and be able to help fix these issues by participating in a prototype beta program. It focuses mainly on changes, replies, and how users interact. The program is open to public. Here's everything you need to know about it. While Twitter hasn't shared any screenshot of its new interface, a few changes include rounded, indented replies so that they appear more approachable and chat-like. Conversation will also be color-coded so you can more easily identify an original poster's tweet in gray from all users who've replied in blue. That's, I think, important. That's a big issue. And perhaps the biggest change is that the share option engagement will also be hidden from view when you're going through your timeline. You'll have to tap on a tweet in order to view them in a prototype mode. So, is this a good thing? I guess it depends on what you think. If you want to apply to participate, there is a link in this particular article to an application form. I'm sure they're going to limit it, but if you want to give it a shot, go ahead. On the last show, we talked about how Apple was way behind with their Apple Car project. By the way, I saw a Google car in Australia with their cameras on top doing the Google Map thing or Google Street View. Saw it driving around. Everyone in the bus was looking at it. What is that? What is that? I'm like, it says Google on the side of the car to people. How do you think they get those street views? They don't do that by walking around. But anyway, an Apple white paper tells us a little more about the company's work on autonomous vehicles. So this came out in February of 2019. Disclosures that revealed Apple safety drivers to be taking control of experimental self-driven cars one time for every mile driven. There's 2 safety drivers in every vehicle. Apple says it's excited about the potential of automation, transportation being one of them. Apple sees the potential for automation to improve road safety, boost mobility, and realize broader secure social benefits. Yeah, like I could sleep while driving someplace. Apple, again, has 2 people inside the car, a safety driver and an operator. And the cars have 63 plus Apple vehicles you see on the roads use a combination of LiDAR, radars, and cameras to understand its environment. They deliver high-resolution 360 3D coverage around the car. The cars aren't fully in control yet, of course. The safety driver can take control by just using the wheel brake, throttle, or gear lever by tapping an override button. And drivers are keeping 2 hands on the wheel at all times as well. So anyway, if you want to read all about the Apple Car project, link will be up in the show notes. Those of you that like the digital well-being app in Samsung phones, it's starting to roll out to more non-Pixel phones with the Galaxy S10 and the Nokia 8. So again, Samsung's Galaxy S10 will come with Google's digital well-being out of the box. All right, if you are a fan of that and are buying that phone. Also, Apple's drawn up a blueprint for a foldable phone. Actually, my son came in this afternoon and says, see this. Look, he's showing me the foldable phone. And it was actually the one from Samsung. And I told him it cost $2,000. And he says, oh, I don't think I need one of these. But anyway, Apple's got a patent pending on their own foldable phone. So, yes, they're getting in on the game plan for sure. All right, I'm just going to check the status of the system here. Since we haven't been, everything is up and running and booming. Good. The president tweeted today, I want 5G and even 6G technology in the United States as soon as possible. It's far more powerful, faster, and smarter than the current standard. American companies must step up their efforts or get left behind. There's no reason that we should be lagging behind on. So here's the deal. 5G is going to take a while to implement. They got to put in a lot of towers. Verizon announced plans to roll 5G out in 30 cities this year. And again, but they have limited phones with 5G. Specifically, Samsung 5G. At Samsung's Unpacked event Wednesday, emerged that Verizon is getting a short-term exclusive on the Samsung's first 5G called the Galaxy S10 5G to make sure people can use the handset and other 5G phones as intended. The provider plans to turn on 5G mobile networks in 30 U.S. cities this year. Okay, so who is that list? All right, Los Angeles, Houston, Indianapolis, Sacramento, New York, Atlanta, as well as Medford, Massachusetts, suggesting Verizon will bring 5G to nearby Boston, and no other cities at this point. But going back to the president's tweet, we got to get 5G rolled out before we even think about 6G. But is it because of Huawei? Is he trying to push American companies into being ready to support 5G, or are they even going to be able to support 5G? Or are they going to have to relent in what Huawei do business here in the United States? On a more happier note, Amazon is going to fund computer science courses in over 1,000 U.S. high schools. Amazon has had some investments in New York City educational initiatives and will continue despite the company pulling its HQ2 plans from the area. Today, Amazon announced it will bring computer science courses again to 1,000 high schools in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. The classes, which are funded through the Amazon Future Engineer program, will reach tens of thousands of students nationwide. Can you imagine having one of your kids be lucky enough to go to a school that has this? Talking about having a leg up. Parents will be doing shopping around for schools to find out where and what schools are supported. But if there's only 1,000 high schools, 50 states, that means 20 high schools per state, which is a very small number. With as much money as Google makes, it seems like they would be able to go a little bit bigger with that. Cinema Ventures beyond movie subscriptions with direct ticket sales. And I had to laugh when I saw this because you've been able to buy movie tickets online for a while, but you haven't generally been able to pick the seat. Some movie theaters have apps that let you pick your seats. But what's going to happen now with all these apps that allow you to pick your seat? And are we going to see scalpers hanging outside movie theaters saying, hey, I got a ticket for row 3 for the new Star Wars movie? Are we going to see that? Is it going to happen? I don't know. But if you are a cinema fan and you don't have their subscription service, don't worry. You can buy tickets direct. You can pay full price, pick your seat, and they're getting in the ticketing business. Smart on them. Lyft shared saver rides save you money if you're willing to walk a little bit. So Lyft is asking people to walk to pickups and drop-offs to save a couple of bucks. This Lyft shared saver is perfect in convention times, like standing in line at a convention, and you're like 3 or 4 of you go in the same hotel. You say, hey, who's going to where and where? And it's like, boom, you're in. This makes it so you don't have to do the shout out. You can actually put your destination in, tells you where the pickup area is for a shared saver, save you some bucks. They're saying that 35% of its rides were shared. And I thought that was one thing about Australia I'll mention is they have a card. I think it's called the OPA card. It's just like Japan where they have a tap on, tap off type of thing where you tap the sensor. When you tap off, it deducts the amount of the ride. Don't forget to tap off because if you don't, it'll charge you for the, as long as you could go on that particular route. But we used the OPA card, and the maps or the buses in Sydney the apps were weak. We're having a hard time figuring out which bus system went where. And we just end up asking bus drivers, oh yeah, we get you close. We jumped on what would have cost about $16 in Uber, cost us $2.20 on the bus, and got us there really fast. There was 4 or 5 stops, but the bus drivers there drive like New Yorkers. They don't act like New Yorkers. One thing I did find interesting was that we got to talking to somebody and they said Americans are typically considered to be very arrogant tourists. I was like, what? She says, yeah, here they have a reputation of being very arrogant. And I thought that was really interesting. And I said, well, I don't think so. I'm pretty humble and happy to be here. I don't know how I would be arrogant. And she says, yeah, that's the opinion a lot of people have here. And then she says, but I've traveled through America. And she says, the only place that I really didn't like in America where people were so rude was New York. And I said, well, it's New York. I said, they don't give anybody a break. And we laughed about that. But it was funny that she said that the only place people were rude was in New York. So, but I've seen plenty of places in America where people are rude. But any Australian listeners, do you think we're arrogant when we go down? I will admit, I did like the exchange rate. I really did, because we kept doing them. Well, that's cheap. It's a good price, because it was, $1 for us was it went a long ways. Got $1.40 Australian for a single US dollar. But anyway, this Lyft shared service ride save you more money. All right. You want a .dev domain? Well, they're $12,500 a pop right now, but they will soon be $17.50. And that's what really tripped me out. I was like, oh, maybe I can pre-order a certain domain I was looking for, .dev. Went over and I couldn't figure out how to wait to the $17.50, and I saw, hey, there's news. I was like, I wonder if Geek.news is available. And I was like, it is. How is that still available? Yes. I tried to buy podcast.news. I was like, no, because they had a premium on that bad boy, like $2,700. No, thank you. Excuse me. AT&T's pulling ads from YouTube over pedophilia controversy. I missed this. But apparently they've had some content that is deemed being produced by pedophiles. And apparently they pulled about 400 channels off YouTube. So AT&T is no longer advertising, at least currently, on YouTube over this. Oracle's been sued $4.5 million after ERP system delivery date moved from 2015, 2016, then 2017, then never. And software giant was sued by Worth & Company, a Pennsylvania-based mechanical contractor, over a failed enterprise resource planning software deal. So, bada bing, bada boom, big money here. They paid over $4.5 million to purchase and implement the ultimate non-functional Oracle ERP product that never delivered. They want their money back. Dropbox expects to drop in its first quarter operating margins, and shares fell 11%. I was looking at Dropbox the other day. I needed to dump a bunch of FTP. I don't have, right now, I am really stressing on my Greek cred. I've got to put an FTP server up. And I don't have a place to dump multiple terabytes of data. And I got to get that resolved. And, but anyway, because I got some media files I need to deliver to Dawn. And I didn't want to use Dropbox to do it because it got crazy expensive to drop a couple terabytes of data. So I'll get this resolved the next day or two. NASA is giving us daily weather reports from Mars. NASA's weather tracker might make humanity think twice about moving to Mars, where it's a negative 138. I did watch an interesting series on Netflix. It was To Mars or something like that, and it was an intermix of what it would be in the future compared to what we did today. It was a big SpaceX commercial almost. But it's a pretty interesting short 5 or 6 series. It was kind of cool. Did anybody else see it? But yes, NASA says news Mars weather site will be geeky fun. And the most recent wind speed recorded clocked in at 37.8 miles per hour. And the atmospheric pressure, usually somewhere around 700 pascals, is considered lower than Earth's, where the average level atmospheric pressure is more than 100,000 pascals. But anyway, it's their newest lander out there is sending back weather reports. DoorDash has been now valued at $7.1 billion. on-demand food delivery DoorDash, and it's a little wheeled delivery vehicle. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty cool. It rolls around, drives up to your house, and delivers stuff. So they've gotten some more money, and they've definitely going to cash in. But it's basically a last-mile logistics platform, and it's a Dash Pass subscription product. The company plans to significantly increase its 1,000 person headcount and expand into non-food product delivery. Google Doodle celebrates Steve Irwin, the original crocodile hunter. Steve Irwin might be remembered for his wild antics and fearless love of crocodiles, but Google also remember him as a family man. So he would have been 57. So nice little doodle honoring Steve Irwin. I think, what did he get? He got killed by was it a stingray? Yeah, a stingray pierced his heart. So his TV shows were always really cool. Samsung Galaxy Fold will cost $2,000 when it launches, and a pretty cool little video on it. Link I'll have up in the show notes for you. We talked about it earlier. And also some USB-C chargers are available. Anker's got a good one out, and it's available. Does a USB-C and regular USB, available at $29.94. So definitely check that out if you're looking for one of those items. And a couple of final articles here. Facebook will shut down its spyware VPN app called Onava. And this will end its unpaid markets research program and proactively take its Onova VPN app off the Google Play Store. In the wake of the backlash following the TechCrunch investigation about Onova code being used in a Facebook research app that sucked up data about teens. So I think we knew this was going to go out, but a little more information on that. And finally, a little information from Axios. Apple's move to ARM-based Macs creates uncertainty. And what they're saying is Apple is widely expected to move its Mac line to custom ARM-based chips in the coming years. And this is what they are hearing. Bloomberg offered a bit of more specificity in things in a report on Wednesday, saying that the first ARM-based Macs could come in 2020, with plans to offer developers a way to write a single app that can run across the iPhone, iPads, and Macs by 2021. And the first hints of the effort came last year when Apple offered a sneak peek at its plans to make it easier for developers to bring iPad apps to the Macs. Now, this move could give developers a way to reach a bigger market with a single app, although the transition would be bumpy. For Intel, of course, it would mean the loss of a significant customer, albeit probably not as huge a hit to its bottom line. And another thing I did notice, and this was in Australia CBD, I kept seeing Windows machines. I saw every person, I said, I'm not seeing any Macs. So it triggered me the first day because I saw so many Windows machines in the lobby at the hotel. So everywhere I went, I was looking for Macs, and I wasn't counting any. I didn't see any. And in stores, you kind of expect to see Windows machines, but at coffee shops and everything, Windows. I counted over 200 Windows computers. I think it was up to like 230 some before I saw my first Mac. And actually, the first Mac I saw was at the airport. So, but I'm being told Apple's big in Australia. But just a general observation, huge numbers of Windows machines. So, maybe Windows winning there. All right, that's going to be my last article. I think I had an email that came in. Yeah, and Jack says, Todd, you asked about thoughts on Amazon's breaking the headquarters deal. The $2.5 billion in New York City and state politician promised Amazon wasn't tax credit. It was money that they were not going to collect if Amazon built the headquarters, and certainly not now with no headquarters. So that was the money New York was never going to get. I call that a wash, kind of like the cost of building a headquarters in the Washington State, Florida, Texas, where there is no state income tax. New York also offered $500 million in state construction subsidies and the ability to sidestep the city's laborious zoning process, which sound like the costs of building and zoning in New York. This, again, a wash. If they build in a state that does not require above normal union contract costs, which in New York, oh my God, it's just completely union controlled. So again, a wash. This money, this new money was never going to, okay, a little typo here. All this money was never going to be seen in either case. New York real loss is that 25,000 high-paying jobs and support businesses that HQ would have created the income tax those jobs would provide are what New York lost. I agree. They lost the income tax, new jobs, the subsidiary businesses around the HQ, the revitalization of a whole area. It is what it is. And there's consequences out there for government officials that talk a lot of smack. But that's the world we live in today, for sure. All right, hey, this can bring me to the end of the show. geeknews@gmail.com. geeknews@gmail.com is the email address. Really pleased to be back in the saddle here, at least for 2 more shows before I head back to Florida. It's been my pleasure to bring the show. I hope that it was more like a normal show. You guys have fun with me doing the little intro audios on the last couple of shows that we did audio only. Hope you did. Again, don't forget about our sponsor, GoDaddy. Go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. For those of you that are insiders that continue to contribute to the show, thank you. Thank you for your ongoing support. It is greatly appreciated. It really, really is. If you haven't become an insider yet, consider doing so. $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 a month, or make a one-time yearly contribution to the show via the geeknewscentral.com/insider page. And we're going to continue on cranking here. It's going to be a crazy year. It really, really is. I don't know if it's going to settle down at all, but the show will roll on and continue. Can't promise that when I'm traveling that I'm going to be able to do a show every time or have someone in to do the show every time, but everything's going to continue to move forward. But thanks for being part of the Ahana and being patient with me here. At least I'm telling you some good stories, right? But we'll see you on Monday for the next episode of the Geek News Central podcast. Everyone take care. Aloha.